first of all, this is the last video I'm gonna make about that, but I'm gonna continuously make these videos because I love to put the reality of these clowns that they utilize here. In the videos you've seen, the last ones, it's just the same stuff they do, and try not to curse, but I gotta be strong and maintain calmness. In the last video, you see an ad. As always, it comes into like things that just based on reality that's just like falsified and stupidity. Listen, today you've seen many videos of how they manipulate me. If you get anything from my videos, you clearly understand that I'm aware and I've acknowledged that I'm no longer myself. And I've acknowledged that I'm what you call a target individual. I've acknowledged that I'm a test subject. And I acknowledge that, unfortunately, as a target individual, I deal with the way I'm being manipulated in ways that are degrading and implanting personas that are supposed to make me subscribe to these current experiences I'm experiencing today. But if you watch my last two videos, you'll see things I've always shown and how they try to validate themselves. Listen, I will never doubt myself in regard to who I am. You know, the best thing about what has happened to me is like, it happened to me when I was already very self-secured, not influenceable by these clowns. And it's funny to hear who they contract that participate in these things and tell me how they're being condescending, because what you're gonna find out in this program, there's a lot of childlike individual partaking, like teenage kids, children actually, not even just teenagers, children as a whole. And with me, it goes as far as kids pretending to get raped. Now they tell me that, oh, we didn't get forced to do that. I'm like, why would they even force you, dumbass? They just have to tell you you're heroes. You lose your children. You know how easy it is to influence people like you. You don't stand on anything. You have a group of people who make it look like what you're doing is honorable, dignified. You are enjoying this program. They make you feel like you're special and you're like a brave individual, and in truth, you're just a clown, a sad, pathetic low life that's not gonna have a good future. Nobody needs to force people like these people to do what they do, especially the children. They're mentally not fully developed, with no self-awareness. And when I hear them tell me like, oh, we've been forced, I remember when I was with people in the office, and they're like, oh, they're so excited about it. They are so proud of it. It's like, I wonder why with children be prideful about doing something foul. How can children be so influenceable in that way? They say this thing as if like these people are not. Have you talked to a child before? To go talk to a teenager. You know how little it takes to influence a child? This is a whole program where there's people every day thanking them for acting the way they're gonna act, because apparently they're gonna act like they're getting raped. And they have people at all levels thanking them as if they've done something heroic. The truth is they don't care. They just trash this trash. They don't even see past their future. They don't even understand what 5 years from now where life is gonna go. They don't care. They're kids. Imagine yourself at 16, 17 years old, 15 years old, being told like, okay, you know what's gonna be heroic? We need you to pretend you get raped. You're doing it for children. You'll be like, okay. And these opportunists are taking advantage of children that are not fully developed. These retards, when I see them, and you're gonna see a picture of what they look like. It's pathetic. But this pathetic low life, gotta be careful. One thing is something I don't want to do. I don't want to be aggressive. But if they pay, because these people have been exciting them and telling them that their duty in life and their purpose in life is to pretend they get raped and act like victims. They're taking it as if it's like their life duty. Not understanding the reality is like, they don't care about you. You're nothing. You're a retard. They wouldn't have their children do that. but they will have you do that. They call you a hero. You're an idiot. Look at yourself in these videos. You're baiting nothing. Nobody is interested in you. And they like to say, like, we met. Like, I met this child, this child. I was like, okay, meet me. Make the mistake of meeting me. I'm telling you, you understand why they won't have their kids do the same thing. I'm not here to threat children, but one thing is for sure. They make the mistake to think that the way they're gonna frame me is something that is real. There's going to be a reality that's going to make them understand why they won't have their this perps who's thanking them won't have their children do that. I'm what you call a target individual. The government is running this program. They contract children, men, women of all walk of life, and it's an ecosystem of people their job is to make you accept the reality that's falsified. They manipulate you in degrading ways. And they have the audacity to have some freaking, excuse my language, I have to say, freaking retards. So out of touch with the reality that they're just clowns. Try to make you accept this manipulation. And then you have people like you see in the videos making themselves laugh. You see that I'm like, yo, just because you seen these people laughing in the last video? A picture of that. This man was making himself laugh. I looked at him, it's like, you're a clown. Like, do I look like you making yourself laugh makes me accept these things? Do you know how detached from reality you are? You're just attached with the reality that you guys get together to hype yourself up. Stick to reality. Look at me. When you realize I'm not laughing with them and I'm looking at them like this trash, and I looked at him and I looked at the black guy who was like, maybe you can get a better gauge than this guy. Do I look like I'm somebody who's gonna subscribe to it because there's a clown like that's laughing at me? Because some of it is also cultural. People don't understand other people when they're not in the same. You understand, people have the way they perceive each other. I think this man, perhaps because he's from a different race, thought that if I make myself laugh and speak in this condescending way, this guy who'll be like, oh my gosh, oh. And I'm looking at him like, if somebody like that come and start laughing at you and looking at you, you'll start believing that this manipulation, like he didn't even know what to look like. These people don't even understand the reality. They don't comprehend reality. They live in a bubble that's just so stupid. It's just another thing. He doesn't understand. Like if I was wanting to crash out, would I not do something harmful to this clown that makes himself laugh? And then these perps who look at people like them is thinking this is what sensible people are supposed to be, so it makes sense. It's like, no, trash. You just don't understand it in this world. You guys, you gotta be understanding of reality. Anybody can influence you to do anything. If you're not strong enough, anybody can make you believe anything and put you in a jeopardizing situation, in a scary situation. You better wake up. You know the word woke that they falsified? You better be awakened. Because these clowns live in a reality where they think this is how things go. That's why this man doesn't want to look at me. He knows the reality of this. He's really woke in different ways. He knows. What I'm saying by that. Today I'm being manipulated. You see the last videos about this invisalign ad, and then this people using this stupidity of like having dating apps where they say this 38-year-old is not actually 38, like stupidity. And then at the bottom you see this child, like almost mental handicap looking person, who they are exciting, appreciating for pretending that she's getting raped. Now you look at this kind of person, you know, like he doesn't take much for you to be excited, like to be make you do things that are just so disgusting. You're not a strong-minded individual. You're a child, and not a child with strength, mental strength. You're a child as influenceable as it gets, but you're a child in the first place. So no child can. You don't, you know, and so and you look at this kid and he's so pathetic. Now, I know the perps I deal with have no shame, but I know the reality was happening to me today. You've seen my videos. As a target individual, they manipulate me in the degrading ways, and then they have these clowns supposed to make you accept of this manipulation. I deal with children, there's babies, toddlers, that they manipulate me to have this nasty manipulation. I deal with the manipulation that are so degrading toward babies and toddlers, and it's so disgusting. So the older kids is easier, because at that point the older kids look like young adults or adults. Now I'm not gonna lie that I've seen young adults I can look at in a sexual way, of course, like every man. But I'm being manipulated and forced to perceive these children like that. Sorry, this young adult that way. And so the teenager that look like young adult, they can manipulate me this way too. Easier, because they do that to 10-year-old kids. And so it's a continuous manipulation from the most extreme to the least extreme. And sometimes they do that to grown women that I would definitely find them stimulating. But I can tell I'm getting manipulated because I can feel something in my brain being manipulated. Target individuals, you gotta know yourself, because these perps, as they manipulate you, they try to fuse things together and confuse you to create mental battles. So they will make you have sexual stimulation that falsify toward a woman that you will see and experience, that naturally you will have some sexual stimulation toward a grown woman, even older than you. They make you have the false experiences, then to make you think that if you feel like that, and then it will make you have this stimulation toward these teenage kids or even these children that are not teenagers. You see, we're matching, when in truth they just try to combine things. There's a lot of mind games, because this technology, as you can clearly hear in all my videos, is about rewiring you and then utilizing this trash to gaslight you into accepting this. For me, I understand that for what it is. I understand that you're playing with my brain in so many ways, inclusive of memory manipulation. Now, this ads about Invisalign is so disturbing, because it's about the braces, and they are also targeting teenagers. But they're also utilizing influencers who teenagers watch a lot. So they could be just young adults that have a large following of teenagers. And they also are actual teenagers as the influencer. Now for me, as I get older, seeing the difference between a young adult and this teenager is getting tough. There's like this singer called Tate McPhee or something. She's 21 years old. I swear to God, I couldn't believe she's an adult. I looked at her, I was like, this is an adult. There is no way I can tell the difference at this point. She looked like a kid. And that's because I'm getting old. I'm like, I can't even imagine this is a 21. She's an adult. And it just doesn't, in my brain, it's just like, what? I start laughing. It's like, this is not. I thought maybe the oldest she can get, 19 years old. 18, 19, 21? She's in her 20s? I couldn't tell. I thought this is like within the teens. Maybe a adult teen, but a teen, 21. Oh, Jesus. And that's because as I get older, my perception of these young adults, it looks more like children. And let me just not lie and pretend like I'm looking at a 22-year-old, a 23, like some of them, but now I'm like, Jesus, what? That's not, I couldn't tell. I was shocked at this thing. I was like, oh, this is probably like a teenager. I couldn't tell. At this point, I'm like, Jesus, these kids and young adults are starting to blend into me. Because I'm getting older. It's like, it's getting all like, oh my gosh. Some of them are obviously kids that you don't have adults like kids. There's no way they're adults. And adults is like, I can't even tell. And they play with me. And you realize that the worst. Sometimes I'm like, there's a teenager. No way there's an adult. She look like it. There's no way. And then sometimes like, is this a teenage adult or teenage kid? Like a kid. And that's when they play with me the most. Because at that point, I can't even tell. In the last video, they start playing with me because there's another ad of this invisalign. This is what came up, right? I start seeing an ad, like a YouTube ad, where the first thing that comes up, let me see if I can pull up, is this ad. This here. And I'm looking at her as like, yo, I can't even tell if this is like a young adult or like a late teen, pre-adult. Like teenage kid that's not an adult yet, but it's about to be. I can't even tell. But what they do with this girl, they start making me think of a influencer who's about my age, maybe a few years younger than me. And they try to use her to make me perceive her in a sexual way. Like, I can't, like, this is not, you're just playing my brain that way. And so I look at the video. Unfortunately, I should have, and it's an Invisalign ad. And it's obviously, it's an ad that's targeting teenager from 16 to 19 years old. And there's also these guys here, which they look like young adults. They look like they're just really young adults. A bunch of tattoos. And that's the video I was making before that. And I'm like, okay, well, they have influencers that a lot of teenagers will follow. That's what they have, these young adults too. They're like 21-year-old, turning 22 soon. And then there's also people like her who look like teenagers. Like, I would give this is like what I would expect a teenager to look like. A teenager, late teen, 17, 18. They stimulate me this way, but I know that's the play, the way they play my brain. But I can tell if I give this person the age, I would like that's like an 18, 17-year-old kid to me. And you can see she's a wholesome kind of like person that's just like it's just not. It's not something that, but they can play my brain this way. But I don't have doubt. To me, she's a teenager. I don't think there's no way that she's not a teenager. And then there was another girl who's like a black girl who looked like much more like a teenager. She looked like the youngest out of everybody. But what they mess with me the most with is this one here. Because her, I'm like, I don't know. Is she like a late teen? Who's a young adult? Or like, I can't even tell. And that's where they start messing with me the most. And that's the game they play. And this is the clown that live around me. And this is how pathetic it gets. That's supposed to be my bait. Like, I'll be baited by this clown. And when I say baited, meaning like I will be interested in somebody like that. Now, you know how retarded you have to be to think that somebody like that, looking like that, can ever bait me into anything by just slapping her. It is pathetic. It is retarded. You should see these clowns. And because today what they do, they can manipulate my brain. I was going downstairs, they just stimulate me out of it. I think it definitely had to be a teenage kid. They play with my brain that they can make me have sexual stimulation on command. I was walking out of the elevator. I could tell a blur that somebody was playing with their hair. I don't know what they've told these retards to think that just playing their hair will make me have sexual stimulation. Sometimes I've seen like little kids that are freaking, I don't even know if they're teenagers, but if they're teenagers, they just turned 13 or 14 years old, hitting their head, thinking that, oh my gosh, if I play with my hair, I'm like, oh my goodness, he's such a sad such a sad person. So this person who they was playing with her hair. They started stimulating me, but I cannot even describe you what she looks like. But I can just describe you based on where I'm at. I'm somewhere here in a place where there's a lot of Hispanic people and ethnically specific individuals. And based on that, that's the only reason why I can tell you what race it is. I cannot tell you anything else about this person. I don't know what this person looks like. But I started laughing because the way she was playing with her hair seemed like that was what it would take for me to be like, oh my gosh, who are you? That's when I know that these people are they're disconnecting reality. Or they think I'm going to let them live their fantasy. Then you have clowns like that they're just supposed to be like, this is what I was telling target video, you got to be strong. These people have no shame. They have no shame. I mean, look. Let me just show you how sad these people are. You have people like that, right? They laugh around. They just they really think that because they're laughing, that's you're like, oh my gosh. He's like, oh my gosh, yeah, you're so into tears. It's like, yeah, right, clown. You fucking look at this clown. Who the fuck are you? You sad piece of retard. You think you can influence anybody because you make yourself laugh? They think target individuals are like children. They think that all it takes is a group of people laughing at it within themselves, and you'll be like, oh, you know what? They're laughing. Oh my gosh. Look at him. A clown like that. I'm like, you're a freaking retard. Do you see yourself? Look at me. Look at me. Then look at you laughing. Talk to me. Get a gauge. You gotta be strong. You have clowns that come in all shape. I don't know if it's a race thing. I don't know if in the mind of this perps, in their mind, they think that I can talk like that and somebody will really say, no, they're your type. Like, because you said that. You here said that. So you think you like that. You like that. You like this clown like this could make me subscribe to the type that you want. Go make yourself laugh more. That this is what I would be interested in. These people have no shame. They do that in front of you, and you look at them like, and then you look at somebody who understands things in a different fashion. Maybe it's like, so this is the guy, yeah. He's investigating. Clown. Death comes to all of us. Just find yourself. You're not the one making yourself laugh. And then they use torture. You're going to be tortured worse when the children pretend to get raped. Jesus, stupid. Trauma target individuals stay strong. Today I'm being manipulated. I'll never identify with these manipulations. And with me, they even change my memories. For example, when I see, there's something they were doing not too long ago. For example, this person here, it's like a teenager, happy, wholesome teen that they're just playing my brain in a falsifying way. I will never look at her and feel like, oh my gosh, who's that? I guess no. And so what they're doing is they go into my memories. And when I was celibate for 5 months, And when I say celibacy, I'm talking about complete celibacy. I watch things of like wholesomeness of that nature, where there'll be like some like teenager things like that will not make me think in a way that will make me think sexually. And so they're doing something where they're changing my memories with the stimulation, because what they used to give me, it was like a refreshing feeling of just wholesomeness. It's not sexual, but they're tweaking it. And let me tell you, for me to be celibate for 5 months, I don't know, for others maybe it's easy, but for me it's not. I completely stopped thinking or having sexual, I completely stopped doing anything that's sexual, even to myself. And that's because I used to watch things that would not take me there. And that's the stuff like that. It's like, no, but you think she's good for her? She's good for her. Pretty girl, good for her. Like, to me, it's just like, okay, that's good. Good for her. She's all good. Oh, too bad. But that's not somebody who I'll be like, oh my gosh, who is she? Like, it will not interest me and make me feel like I want to do something to this, or even make me think in a sexual way. They're just twisting anything. But I'm talking to perps who's telling me they're going to frame me and being mean and have mentally retarded children like that act like they're getting raped, and then have clowns like that because they're laughing. It's supposed to make me subscribe to this. Telling me just stay strong and see these clowns for what they are.